win probability per game loss by kicking in go situations in 2025. So obviously, we only have a small sample size so far, only 3 games. We're going to get more of sample size as the season goes along. But this is pretty much the typical Zach Taylor kicks a field goal instead of going for it on 4th down. You take your points, you don't go for it, and this is the win probability loss because of that. Now, across the board, here's what I'll say about the situation, right? We've had times in the past where Zach has been aggressive. He has gone for it. And we look back at the end of the game, we go, hey, if you would have just taken your field goal here, we would have won this game, right? Obviously, everything is 20/20 vision in the end. You can always, look at things after the fact and make, assumptions or make claims after, right? Nonetheless, though, my problem with this situation isn't really the fact of Zach Taylor kicking field goals. Because I actually, preferably on certain situations, I'm actually cool with that. Take your point and, make it a lot closer of a ball game. The problem with this is really the play calling. It's if you do go on 4th down, it's better to kick a field goal because Zach Taylor doesn't have the play call to go out there and get the 1st down. And again, this is kind of piggybacks off the whole concept of play calling is really the biggest issue. The scheme's the biggest issue because at the end of the day, obviously you could look at this graph and say, oh, Zach, you should go for it more. You're losing games because you're kicking field goals. Obviously, this season we're 2-1. And let's be honest, last week wouldn't have changed anything if we would have kicked a field goal or went for it or whatever. We would have been more aggressive last week. It's not like it would have changed the game. 6 turnovers is not something that, being more aggressive is going to change. But, again, it's also Jake Browning. We've had Jake Browning this season. Again, I'm not trying to make a video defending Zach here, but there is a definitely, context that we need to talk about here where it's like, hey, at the end of the day, we do have a backup quarterback in. I think a lot of people are kind of forgetting that this is not like we're doing this and struggling like this when we had Joe Burrow. We're struggling like this when we have Jake Browning. Now, we did struggle with Joe Burrow, don't get me wrong, but that was against the Brownies, which, again, week 1, we're always going to struggle against the Brownies, let's be honest. And then Jacksonville, we had a quarter of Joe. So, across the board, and I kind of did this too, so I can't even crap talk on this one, because I did look at, stats the other day about, different grades for our guys this early in the season. It's really hard to do that because it's just such a small sample size. But I think this is a generalized issue. But again, it's one of those issues where, yeah, you could tell Zach, oh, you got to be more aggressive, man. You got to be more aggressive. You got to go for it. You got to do this, that, and third. But if he doesn't have a good play call, and what we have seen is he never does, then what's the point of being more aggressive and going for it on 4th down? At that point, just take your points. And I get it, the win probability is going to be worse because you don't go for it and you take your points, right? But at the end of the day, what we have seen in Zach Taylor's offense is whoever he's coaching is going to struggle in the red zone. They're going to struggle in to-go situations. And a lot of times they'll kick in the past, we would go for it, and we would not get it because Zach would call a stupid play, and it would give us 2 or 3 yards. So, it's kind of like one of those situations where would you rather get some points or get nothing? And if you're going to, again, pretty much guarantee yourself nothing because of the play calling, I honestly rather just walk away with something because then at least you are, keeping yourself in there. And I know momentum dies when you do that, when you kick a field goal to a certain degree. If you have a really good, consistent drive and then you have to set up for 3, it does kill momentum to a certain degree. But, at some point, we have seen Zach be aggressive so much throughout his career with us so far, and it has not worked. The play calling is not there. It's just an ugly, he'll call the stupidest play on 4th and short or 4th and whatever. and then we'll end up losing because of it. So in the end, I might rather take a field goal and take our points, because at least then 3 points are 3 points. Now, in the past, we've also had kicking issues. Evan McPherson missing field goals this year. He's been pretty good, knock on wood, that continues. But, Cade York, we picked him up. We lost a couple games last year because of kicking. And we ended up kicking a field goal, and we end up missing the field goal. So then you really are going to be in the crapper, because you're not getting any points, period. Whether or not you were going to get it on fourth down doesn't matter at the end of the day, because you missed the field goal as well. So, again, I'm on the fence about this, and I'm not trying to make a video defending Zach here, but I think there is a situation where it's kind of funny. It's defending Zach, but also bashing Zach at the same time. But there is a situation where it's like, hey, if we had Ben Johnson or Dan Campbell, or we had, a really actual good offensive coordinator, size even a head coach, you could say, like coordinator, head coach, because Zach obviously needs to be both. His ego could never have him just be the head coach. If that was the case and we had like a really good, caller or shot caller, then yeah, I would say maybe the different situation here. But I don't know if it's a smart idea to have Zach be more aggressive and go for it on fourth downs. Because if you're going to call a crappy play anyway, I'd rather walk away with 3 points than nothing. That's just kind of my mentality. And again, some of these games, you've seen it throughout the this year, and, well, not this year, Jacksonville game was within 5 points. Some of these games throughout, our, like, Bengals history here, they're 3-point games. They come down to 2 3-point games. You play the Ravens, they come down to less than 7 points. You go against the Chiefs, it comes down to less than 7 points. Same thing with the Bills. So because of that, yes, you can be more aggressive, obviously, but at the end of the day, we also got to be, kind of mindful of that. And again, we do have a backup quarterback, okay? Probably not going for it on certain situations. And with these metrics being this year, you're probably going to be a little bit smarter about when you're going to go for it and when you're going to take your points. So, I don't know. I'm not really upset with Zach with this metric, because I don't think, in all honesty, he should go for it on most fourth downs. He just simply is not good at it. He's not good at play calling with that. So anyway, we are 1 for 1, by the way. Little side note for fourth down conversions this year. We got one versus Jacksonville, but yeah. Guys, tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. Listen, at the end of the day, it is what it is. We're just going to have to take it one game at a time and keep rocking and rolling. And I think we'll be fine. But who knows? Maybe crazy things happen. We win every game moving forward, and we go 15-2 and go win the Super Bowl with Jake Browning. Now, at that point, Joe Burrow comes back. Anyway, I'll see you guys next one.